If you've noticed that your digestion just isn't what it used to be, that meals sit heavier than they did at 50, that your gut feels a little slower, a little more unpredictable, a little older than the rest of you, you're not alone. And today, we're going to fix that. Because there's a story scientists keep circling back to. A small chain of islands in the East China Sea called Okinawa, where people didn't just live into their 90s. They lived into their 90s with guts that still worked, digestion that didn't quit. And for years the internet has told you their secret was some exotic superfood, a rare seaweed, a miracle mushroom, a supplement you can conveniently buy in 3 easy payments. I went looking for that secret, and what I found was almost insulting in how ordinary it is. It wasn't exotic at all. It was sitting in the dirt. It cost almost nothing. And the Okinawans who lived the longest ate it nearly every single day. Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call her Carol. Carol is 69, and Carol did everything right. She bought the probiotics, the expensive ones, the refrigerated kind. She tried the fermented powders. She has a kitchen cabinet that looks like a small pharmacy. And her gut still felt like a traffic jam. What Carol didn't know, what almost nobody is told, is that the Okinawans who outlived the rest of the world weren't taking anything. They were eating something. One humble thing. And it did more for their gut than Carol's entire cabinet combined. So what was it? It was the sweet potato. I know how that sounds. But stay with me because the numbers are genuinely staggering. When researchers went back through decades of archived dietary records from Okinawa, they found that for most of these centenarians' lives, somewhere between 60 and 70% of every calorie they ate came from the sweet potato, not as a side dish, not a holiday treat. The backbone of the plate, roughly 4 cups a day. Picture that for a second. An entire diet built around a single purple and orange root pulled from the ground. That was Okinawa. Now here's the question that matters for you and me. Sitting here decades later, why would one ordinary food do so much, and more importantly, is it too late? Can a gut that's already 60, 70 years old actually get any of that benefit back? The answer is no, it is not too late. And to understand why, you have to understand what's quietly happening inside an aging gut. As we get older, the community of bacteria in our gut, trillions of them, an entire invisible city, tends to get quieter, less diverse. The friendly bacteria that keep things running thin out. And when they do, the gut wall itself can get a little leakier, a little more inflamed. That low, simmering inflammation is a big part of what makes a gut feel old. The Okinawan sweet potato pushed back on that in 4 ways. And the 4th one is the one almost nobody talks about. Let me walk you through them. The first is the sheer volume of fiber. Those 4 cups a day delivered an enormous, steady stream of fiber into the gut, and fiber is simply food for your bacteria. Think of your microbiome as a garden. Most of us are feeding ours a few crumbs. The Okinawans were watering theirs every single day for 90 years. This, by the way, is the thing Carol's cabinet of pills could never do. You cannot supplement your way out of an empty garden. You have to feed it. The second is something called resistant starch. This is a special kind of starch your stomach can't break down, so it travels all the way to your lower gut intact, where your bacteria feast on it. And when they do, they produce a compound called butyrate. Think of butyrate as a repair crew for your gut wall. It helps seal that leaky lining and calm the inflammation. In one 2019 trial, researchers fed potato-based resistant starch to a group of adults and saw one of the biggest jumps in butyrate they measured from any fiber they tested. Now I'll be honest with you, because that's the deal on this channel. That study was in younger adults, so the picture in a 70-year-old gut is a little fuzzier, and not everyone responded the same. It depended on the bacteria they already had. But the direction was clear. Feed this fiber and the repair crew shows up. And then there's the third thing, and this one is hiding in plain sight. It's the color. That deep purple flesh? That's a pigment called anthocyanin, the very same antioxidant that makes blueberries blue. The Okinawan purple sweet potato is loaded with it. Now, I won't oversell this one. The research here is younger than the fiber science, but it means every bite came wrapped in a potent antioxidant, the same family of compound people now pay a premium for, in little blue berries in a plastic clamshell. The fourth one is the quietest and maybe the most important. The sweet potato didn't just add something good, it crowded out everything bad. When 70% of your plate is a root vegetable, there is simply no room left for the refined sugar, the white bread, the processed meat that ages the modern gut. The sweet potato won by occupying the territory. And then there is the finding that finally cracked the case for me. Because you might be thinking exactly what I thought. Maybe it's not the food at all. Maybe Okinawans just have good genes. So researchers tested that. They watched what happened when the younger generation of Okinawans stopped eating the old way when American fast food and white bread arrived, and the sweet potato got pushed off the plate. And the longevity faded. By the early 2000s, Okinawan men had fallen from 4th place to 26th place in life expectancy among Japan's regions. The locals actually have a name for it. They call it the 26 shock. Same islands, same genes, the same DNA their long-lived grandparents had. Now, to be fair, more than one thing changed. The younger generation also moved less and lived with more stress. But chief among the changes, the loudest one, was the food. The sweet potato was gone, and white bread and fast food took its place. That's the moment the case cracked open for me. The grandparents who kept eating the old way kept their remarkable health. The grandchildren who didn't largely lost the edge. You will rarely find a cleaner real-world clue than that. This is the part that would have stopped Carol cold. Because Carol had spent years assuming her gut was just getting old. It wasn't only aging. It was hungry. Now I'll be straight with you. The sweet potato is not a magic bullet, and you've heard enough of those. Okinawan longevity was also about moving all day, close community, and stopping eating before they were full. And the science on the aging gut is still being argued over. It's messier than any tidy headline. The sweet potato wasn't a magic pill. It was the foundation of an entire way of living, but it was the foundation. So what does this mean for you, someone with a real kitchen, who is never going to eat 4 cups of sweet potato a day? Simple. You don't copy the amount. You copy the principle. The first move is the simplest. Make a root vegetable the base of your plate a few times a week instead of an afterthought. A fist-sized portion of sweet potato, orange or purple. Both work where the bread or the white rice used to be. You're not adding it on top. You're swapping it in. That's the swap I'd hand Carol first. The second is a little kitchen trick most people have never heard. When you cook a sweet potato, then cool it in the fridge overnight and eat it cold or just gently reheated. That cooling actually increases the resistant starch, the very fiber that feeds your repair crew. The effect is modest, not magic, but it's real, and it costs you nothing but a little planning. And then there is the third tool, and this is the one that surprised me most. It's that the potato was never really the point. The point was fiber. Every day, from many plants, beans, greens, other roots. The Okinawans just happened to get theirs from one humble tuber. You can build the very same garden from a dozen different seeds. Do that, and here's what it looks like. Not on a chart. In a life. It looks like a quiet Tuesday dinner where the plate is colorful and the meal sits easy. It looks like waking up and your middle feels calm instead of bloated. It looks like a body that somewhere down in that invisible city is being fed and tended. Again, that is not a medical protocol. That is a life. Remember Carol? Carol didn't throw out her probiotics, but she stopped treating her gut like a problem to be supplemented and started treating it like a garden to be fed. A few months in, the traffic jam started to ease. Not because she found the magic pill, because she finally fed the thing that was hungry. So if you take 3 things from me today, take these. 1. Swap a root vegetable in for the refined stuff a few times a week. 2. Cook it, cool it, and let that resistant starch do its quiet work. 3. Remember, the real secret was never one food. It was feeding your gut something living every single day. And here is the part I want you to actually believe. It is not too late. That invisible city inside you responds to what you feed it at any age. At 60, at 70, at 80. Your gut is not finished. It is waiting. One honest note before we go. If you're managing diabetes or kidney issues, sweet potatoes are higher in carbohydrate and in potassium, so it's worth a quick conversation with your doctor before you make them a daily staple. Nothing on this channel is ever a reason to change your medication. It's a reason to ask better questions. If this helped something click for you, do me one small favor and subscribe. That's how this little detective agency keeps its lights on. And before you go, one loose thread. Because something about that sweet potato never quite added up for me. It's a carbohydrate. A sweet one. By every modern rule, a diet that is 70% sweet potato should have wrecked their blood sugar. It should have given an entire island diabetes. It did the opposite. And the reason why what was really happening to blood sugar in these people after 60 is, I think, even more important than everything we talked about today. That's where we're going next time. I'll see you there.